This video is sponsored by Keeps. All right, man. As we all know, one of the biggest trending topics right now is Save Bradley Beal. Just a few days ago, I dropped a video and I told y'all there's been 12 times in the last 2 seasons where Bradley Beal scored 40 points or more. They were 1-11 in those games. The other night they played the Pelicans and made it 1-12. As bad as we feel for Bradley right now, nobody can deny the fact that he put himself in this situation. Just like many players, past and present, his loyalty dug himself into a disastrous situation, and that's exactly what this video is about. Now, just like Bradley made his situation worse by digging himself in that bad contract, if you are losing hair in any way possible, please do not make the situation worse by ignoring it, or even worse, buying unproven products. Use today's video sponsor, Keeps. Most of my viewership are from guys, so most of my sponsorships are pertaining to men's health. This is no different. We can try to ignore it, neglect it all we want, but the numbers say 2 out of every 3 guys, we're going to experience some form of male pattern baldness by the age of 35, so we should definitely listen up. The best way to approach a common problem like hair loss is to get out way in front of it. Do not be Bradley Beal in this situation and wait till it's too late. Keeps. They're a very rare breed. There's only 2 FDA approved hair loss products, and they give you versions of both. And my personal favorite feature, especially during a time like this, you don't have to wait at a doctor's office for your medication in lines with masks on and all that stuff. They deliver your medication every 3 months, so those days are over. If you care about that precious hairline like I do, please visit keeps.com/swishout or just click the link in my description. They're giving y'all half off, 50% off of your first order, and you really can't beat that. Big shout out to my good friends over at Keeps for doing just that and helping my guys keep their hair. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video.
For me, I feel like that was kind of the easy way out. Like I'm a little bit with Dame on this, like because I even talked to him a little bit over the summer, and kind of just gauge where he was. I talked to Ray Allen. I talked to a bunch of guys who've kind of been in this same predicament of, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to build up what you have, or jump ship and see what you can do somewhere else? And when I was evaluating that, it's like the grass ain't always greener on the other side. We always know that. It's only one team that wins the championship. So think about it as, okay, if I go to another team, there's no promise I'll win.
True.
You know, we'll probably win more regular season games, but am I going to get to the finals? Am I going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals? Am I going to win a championship? Like, those are what my goals and desires are.
I don't know if Bradley Beal is just like this extremely loyal ass dude, but last year, right before the season started, he made a weird ass decision to me. Without knowing the true health status of John Wall, without having really another ball handler type, facilitator type player on the team, without having another star, without having anybody noteworthy on the team, to be honest, he decided to sign an extension with Washington. Now, mind you, in 2016, Bradley Beal signed a contract that literally would have had him as a free agent after this season. He didn't have to sign this contract and add years to an experiment. To me, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, but all Bradley had to do is literally ball out on that contract, continue to live up to that contract, and put the pressure on Washington. Once your deal is coming to a close, they're going to have all the pressure to put adequate talent around you, and if they don't, you dip. Why would you add extra years to a team with no real direction? He just trapped himself. Now, when you look at it, if Washington doesn't trade him, which they should, he's giving you everything he has, let that man free. But if they don't trade him, he has to wait until the season after next, when his player option is up, then he can finally leave. By that time, he would have burned 10 years of his prime, and all he would have had to show for it with Washington is he was 1 game away from the Eastern Conference Finals, and he lost to a 5'9" dude on a bad hip. Like, this is how a bad franchise can literally ruin a prime. Relatively speaking, and I have to make that very, very clear because obviously he still made a lot of money. Relatively speaking, DeMarcus Cousins has probably had the saddest NBA financial career of the 2010s. And to me, it's not even very close. I'm going to tell y'all why loyalty in the NBA, it doesn't mean a thing. It's not a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. It's trash. NBA players getting trashed for leaving teams while NBA owners trade people all the time. It's trash. In January of 2017, this report came out, and I hope y'all read this very, very clear. DeMarcus Cousins intends on signing a $200 million extension with Sacramento. 1 month later, right after he just started in the West for your trash-ass franchise, he gets traded. Exactly 1 year later from the trade, he tears his Achilles as a big, and he's never been the same. And his career has basically went down the drain since that exact moment. Now, if a franchise is actually loyal to a player, they're going to reward you for past performances and everything you did for the team. Like Portland, for example, right? They signed Dame to a massive contract in 2019 that he hasn't even touched yet. That's Portland taking care of their franchise guy and rewarding him for everything he did for that franchise. Meanwhile, Sacramento, a franchise I just can't stand, they used DeMarcus Cousins for his services, and they were extreme services. Like, he was the only thing relevant in that town for years. They used him for his services, and once it was time to pay him, they shipped him off and didn't even give him that big contract that he worked and busted his ass for. And unfortunately, he got hurt and never got that contract. That's cruddy, bro. As fun as the Cavs are right now, they're up and coming. They have young talent, real young talent on that team. Kevin Love should not be there right now. He's 32 years old, and he deserves a chance to actually compete. Cleveland, as fun as they are, they're not a real threat to anyone, and Kevin Love shouldn't be there, but he did it to himself. After LeBron left, so, Kevin Love knew. LeBron went to the Lakers, and Kevin Love knew. He couldn't say LeBron screwed him over or nothing like that. He knew. After LeBron went to the Lakers, this man signed an extension to a contract that would have ended last year. Now, when you look back at that extension, and I'm not trying to exaggerate, bro, I really feel like this, it almost feels like it ended what was left of his career or something. I just seen an article from Bleacher Report that made a lot of sense, bro. Where would Kevin Love fit in with any real contender? Now that he's under contract, and the contract isn't a small contract, bro. Now that he's under that contract, any contender, they're going to have to gut their team and trade real valuable pieces to get him. And why would they really do that? Again, and just like the Bradley Beal situation, maybe I'm reading this wrong. All he had to do was let that contract ride out, and he would have given himself all the leverage. Literally, he could have signed with the contender, say like Portland, right? He could have signed with Portland, and Portland wouldn't have to deplete their roster and say trade away like a CJ McCollum, a Gary Trent Jr., or a Nurkic to get Kevin Love. Because once they do that, once they trade for you, it defeats the purpose of adding you because they're losing valuable pieces too. So he could have just signed with him as a free agent, but now he's on this contract and the team's got to trade for him, and it kind of defeats the purpose, bro. Like, he literally trapped himself. I understand players sign these big contracts because they love that financial security. Nobody wants to get injured, kind of like Boogie, and not have future numbers thrown at him, and basically the career's in jeopardy, and you don't have that security as far as your money and all that. I get that. But at the same time, you can't complain once you're under a bad regime or a bad franchise and throw the ball like Kevin Love did last year if you sign that contract. Players like Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, they sign small contracts because they believe in their skill set and know, I'm going to still have value after this deal. I'm going to still have value, and I'm still going to be, a hot commodity in the market and all that. If you guys like this video, make sure you like this video. I just wanted to make a quick video on this topic because Bradley Beal is such in the news every single game because he's always balling and they stay losing. So I just had to make this quick video about how players, they kind of trap themselves and all that. Make sure you guys are following my social media sites, my Twitter, my IG, especially my Twitter. I'm always on there. Doing that great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.